So let's go 4 chapters before, back when I was working full-time as an elementary school teacher. So how did I navigate business and life while I was working full-time? Because that might be you. When I was working full-time as an elementary school teacher, I was a phys ed and health teacher, I had this internal burning desire for more. So for me, what it looked like was the passion was so high that I was actually working on my side hustle during my prep period at school. Now, I never in a million years thought I was going to turn it into a business. I did not come from a family of entrepreneurs. But I'm really excited for today's episode because while I was away, I was getting a lot of messages from people asking, how are you taking so much time out of office? In fact, if you were following along, maybe you were wondering the same thing yourself. So just to catch you up to speed, like I said, I took pretty much the month of August out of office, and being an entrepreneur, we get to do things like this whenever we want. Certainly one of the reasons why I started being an entrepreneur and wanting to grow my own business and be the creator of my schedule. So it's awesome that you can do this, but it does come with, in my experience, push and pull, right? There's also things that you might not see on the back end of the business. I want to walk you through just 4 different, I'll call them seasons or chapters of my life as an entrepreneur, because I think that so many of these chapters can resonate with where you are today. So let's start at the most recent. If you didn't know, Mike and I currently live in Arizona, but for the last 2 years since we moved out there, we spend summers on the East Coast, a lot of mornings and everything in between. So it was just so beautiful. The best trip ever, really, truly. It was just so wonderful. But for me, it was my first real true 2-week out of office. Now, I've taken a lot of vacations, and if you follow along, we travel a ton. We're digital nomads for a year and a half, living in an RV, traveling. But most of the time, we're traveling for work. We're either hosting a retreat or attending a retreat or an event, or we're going and meeting up with friends. But while we're doing that, we're living and working at the same time. Let me just be clear, that was by choice. And for me, I love life in a different location, hence why we're digital nomads. While we were in Europe, we knew ahead of time. We were proactive in the business, did a lot of planning and prepping ahead of time so that it would make our time being out of office really easy. Well, for now, we have team members. We have 4 in our executive leadership team. We have a staff of 14 coaches, and we have a ton of contractors that do things like video editing and podcast editing, and we have lots of people that come in for different projects. The season I'm in right now may or may not resonate with where you are, and that's the whole point of this episode, because I want to take you through a couple chapters that I've lived through. So the season that I'm in now meant, okay, I'm going to batch record some podcast episodes. I'm going to make sure I'm ahead on any other content that I need to create. I'm going to make sure that I'm ahead on writing any emails. The team and I are going to make sure that we appropriately back into the projects coming down the pipeline. So we have projects and things that we're working on months in advance. This is how we work in the business, meaning if we're going to be launching something in November, we're going to actually be working on that in August or July. And so all year we've been backing into where are we going versus where are we right now, which is a mistake that I've made so many times in my business, and definitely the majority of my clients make. It's that reactive, oh my gosh, I need to make money right now, or something is really, I got to tighten the belt, or somebody just quit, I need to hire someone. We don't want to be running a business in that way. And so now I sit very much in a leadership role. Yeah, the CEO, the CVO, the coach, the content creator, still very much the face of the brand, but now I'm spending so much of my time leading and managing my team, empowering my team, having conversations with my team that things are set in stone and in place for everybody to be successful. And so yes, the team was able to run the business and they can carry on the show without me. And of course I need to be a part of it and I want to be a part of it, but it still runs without me. We still make sales without me. We still have happy customers without me. And for me, that has always been the goal. And so I really practiced being present on my vacation. So let's go 4 chapters before, back when I was working full-time as an elementary school teacher. So how did I navigate business and life while I was working full-time? Because that might be you. When I was working full-time as an elementary school teacher, I was a phys ed and health teacher. I had this internal burning desire for more. Most of it came from the void I was feeling that I was missing something. I felt like I was missing like that connection to adults because I was an elementary school teacher. So I would get home from school at 3:25. Mike would get home from work. He was commuting into New York City. He'd get home at like 9. So from 3:25 to 9, usually I went to the gym in the morning before work. So I had all of this space from 3:25 to 9. I could only listen to so many books and podcasts. So for me, what it looked like was the passion was so high that I was actually working on my side hustle during my prep period at school. Now, I never in a million years thought I was going to turn it into a business. I did not come from a family of entrepreneurs, but what I knew was I felt unfulfilled. I would be drawing logos, be watching YouTubes on how to create a website, and I'd be going into my free Facebook group and I'd be commenting and connecting with women in the Facebook group while I was on my prep period, while I was on my lunch period. I was even joining free webinars, and I had hired a coach. This was back years ago, 2012, 2013, and I would join her coaching calls from my car on my prep period. And so I was in the pockets of my day working this quote unquote, this side hustle. I was writing my own blogs. I was hosting my own lives. I would do what I called power hour. And I learned this through network marketing. And I would sit for an hour in our second bedroom in our townhouse, and I would cold call these women. And I'd say, hey, so-and-so, I recently hosted a booth at blah, blah, blah bridal showcase. Whether you came to my table or not, like, I just wanted to strike up a conversation, see if weight loss or muscle gain or toning up or anything like that was on your radar, if that was something you were looking into for your wedding. I've been a trainer for X amount of years, and I can help you do blah, blah, blah. And for 1 hour, I would cold call as many phone numbers as I could. And let me tell you, probably 95% of the calls never got to voicemail or for someone to pick up. And so when clients now ask me, how did you get so good at sales? My answer truly is because I've done thousands of reps, and I got better each time, and I got more confident each time. In the pockets of my day, I would create the time. We're never gonna find the time, we create the time. And if you're anything like me, like most humans, we actually do better when we have less time. Deadlines make people move. And so for me, having a very full schedule, working full-time as a teacher, working part-time as a personal trainer nights and weekends, I only had so many tiny little pockets of my day. Now, granted, I didn't have kids. I still don't. I understand that makes things different. It makes things easier. Maybe, right? I had a partner who had a job. He was off at work. He would come home. So there are things in your life that are going to look a little bit different for sure. But I created the time in the small pockets of my day. And so when I was a teacher, I was balancing the life and the business by creating pockets of my day without judgment. It didn't matter how many things I got done off my to-do list. It was just about putting in the rep every single day. And then the next chapter unfolded. I then transitioned in 2017. I left my teaching job after almost a decade. I had a choice to make, and there was a path. Path A, path B. And path A was to hold my ego and my pride that I had all these certifications and affirmations, or I had path B. Nobody knows me. It doesn't matter what type of background I have. There are tons of people with tons of experience and certifications. I'm willing to go all in, admit when I don't know something, ask for help, take messy action repeatedly, remove the ego, and do whatever I need to do to make ends meet. And so this chapter of my life in my business, I'm going to call full-time trainer. So truth be told, when I first left teaching and I went into entrepreneurship full-time, I really truly thought that my goal and my end in sight was actually to be the next Jillian Michaels. Like I said, I had been a trainer for 14 years, my online health and fitness business, the ebooks, like I was doing bodybuilding competitions. And so when I walked into New York City, now rewind for 1 second, I knew that we were going to move to New York when I quit my job. And I knew that I was going to try to quote unquote make it in the fitness business while building my online business. And so the weekend we moved into New York, I walked into one of the gyms that I had been going to, and I applied for a job, and I was totally willing to take anything that they would give me. And I started, of course, as a floor trainer there. And it was pretty quickly that being a floor trainer there allowed me to open up the opportunity for myself, where I presented options to the gym that I was working at. Hey, by the way, I write for this magazine. Would I be able to, do a photo shoot here with them? So, hey, Athleta wants to come do a shoot. Can we use this space? And so I started networking, collaborating people to people. Anyone I would meet in the industry, I started hosting events and meetups, and I was bringing everybody together, and I was creating my own luck. So when people ask me, how did you get to be writing for these magazines, and how did you get to, be in these magazines and do all these fitness things? I was tagging these brands and these magazines relentlessly for years, reaching out to them in DMs, pitching them ideas for articles, emailing. I would go to like shape.com or Women's Health, and I would read articles online, and I would see who wrote the article, who was the editor, and then I would go find the editor on social media, and then I would pitch them. I literally would DM them, and a lot of times the editors and the people writing them, they were girls my age. They were women living in New York and men living in New York who were into fitness. It all was centered around just building relationships. And so when I tell you that I worked sunrise to sundown and weekends for years, I did. And you might listen to this and say, like, you're not into the hustle life, and it's not about hustle and grind, and you want to be aligned and all of this and that. But let me be clear. You can be in alignment and still work hard. You can be in alignment and have a bad day. You can be in alignment and every day is not rainbows and unicorns, and sometimes you feel bored. The two can live in the same room together. Being in alignment is living into your purpose. It's living into your truth. It's doing things that light you up. And so between the in-person training and the online thing, I was doing what I needed to do to make ends meet. And that brings me into chapter 3. I took that cute side hustle from, 10 to 30 grand a year to multiple 6 figures in about the first 2 months. And within 18 months, I scaled it to $1 million per year business, which is amazing. And it's super cool. And I'm really proud of myself. But ultimately, that should not be your goal. I don't want to focus on that. What I want to focus on is most people think that I went from, I quit my job, it blew up, and now we're here. There's a step here that you're missing. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to end today's episode here. So we're chatting all about how we navigate life and business. And I'm walking you through 4 different chapters, 4 different phases of my business, from the crazy stupid idea and the ideation phase to stepping into the next chapter where I was ready to take it seriously and go all in because I saw what was possible. The next chapter 3 and chapter 4, which is where we are present day today. So if you loved this episode so far, if you have questions about this episode, shoot me a DM. I am Jessica DeRose. And as always, cheers to your evolution. I will see you in the next episode where we're going to dive into chapter 3 and chapter 4.